In this tutorial, we're going to take a look at toolpath saving, and this is the final step of the process where we take toolpaths and we save them out to a file format that's compatible with your CNC machine. So this is where we're aiming to end up, but let's go to File and Close. And so to demonstrate toolpath saving, we're going to open up a file. So let's go to Open an Existing File, and let's open up our widget 24 by 24 toolpath file. So let's open that up. And you'll notice now we've got our file on screen, so let's pop over to the 3D view. And we're going to switch from the design menu over to the toolpath menu by clicking this button over here. And you'll see now we've got our toolpaths listed. So you can see we've got our pocket, which is using a 1/4" end mill. We've got our drill, another 1/4" end mill, our profile, 1/4" end mill again, the V-bit for our text profile, and the same V-bit being used for the hatch profile, which is a 90-degree half-inch V-bit. Now, it's always a good idea to have a look at the preview of your project before you save it out, so you can see what it's going to look like when you get it to your machine. So let's just select our toolpaths, and we can click Preview All Toolpaths. And so you can see how it's going to cut the file. So this is quite a useful tool to use, and you can see what it's going to end up looking like. So it gives you a nice visual before you go cut it. But with that in mind, with our preview now checked, we can go look at saving our toolpaths. Let's go to this icon here to click Save Toolpath. So at the top of the form, we have various options on how to select how our toolpaths are saved, but you'll notice the most important option here is the machine and the post-processor options, because the post-processor is what converts the X, Y, and Z coordinates for the tool moves into a format that is suitable for your particular machine control. And the correct choice for this option will depend a lot on the control software of your machine. So, for demonstration purposes, I'm using my desktop machine, and you can see I can click the button next to it here to open up the machine configuration dialog. So this gives me information about my machine and the post-processors associated to it. But we do have a guide on how to set up your machine, which is the machine configuration guide, which you can find in the related videos. Now you'll notice I can change between my machines. I've got desktop and large, and then I've got the option to choose a post-processor. Now, this menu also allows you to add a post-processor if you don't have one. So you can click this button here, and it'll pop up the machine configuration dialog. And in this menu, you can do several different things. So you can add a custom machine to the database and activate it. You can install an offline package. So if you have downloaded a package for your machine from your VCarve account, you can access that here. And then you can also search online for your machine. So you can search online for your machine, and the machine will be populated into these fields along with any post-processors associated with that machine. They will be populated in the bottom of this form down here. So you can see we've got some information about your machine here and the associated post-processors, and you can also add in a post manually by clicking this button here, and we can bring up the entire list of post-processors in the software, and you can add these in if you need to. So you can select one, click select, and that'll be into your list. And as well, you can install any post-processors to a custom post-processor directory, as well as downloading the latest post-processor database so you're up to date. But with that covered, let's cancel out of that. And as I mentioned, there is a dedicated video on how to set up your machine and the machine configuration guide, and that will be in the related video. So I highly recommend checking that out if you need to learn how to set up your machine. But let's go back into our Save Toolpaths form and look at some of these options over here. So you notice we've got selected toolpaths selected. So that means any of the toolpaths that we go and select now will be the ones that will be saved. So you'll notice that right now it's showing the toolpath to be saved is a pocket, and it gives me the tool here as well because I've got pocket selected. If I go down to drill, you'll notice it's the drill and shows me the tool. Same for the profile and the text and the hatch. Now, something to note here is that before we choose our post processor to save with, in this case, which for me will be the GCode inch, as that's the one I used most often, you can actually make this your default post processor. And the way to do that is by going into the machine configuration menu again. And if I right mouse click on the one I want to make the default, I can make it a default. And then what will happen is it will highlight in bold to give me a visual indication that it's now my default post. Hit apply, click OK. And then what will happen is every time I open up this machine, the GCode inch post will be displayed first. You'll notice that if I switch to my large, switch back to my desktop, it's always displayed on top, but I can still select all the other post processors if I need them. But if this is the one I'm using most often, it just makes it easy for me to access that right away, having it as the default option. And it's also worth noting here that if you haven't configured your machine and associated any post-processors to your machine, you'll be prompted to do so when you open the Save Toolpath form, and by having the software set up with a configured machine, the advantages are that it allows you to default to the last used post, and it also allows you to organize your post processors a bit better, and ultimately it just gives you more control over the version of the post processor that you use. And if you don't configure a machine here, then the software will result to listing the entire post processor database for you to search for your post here. Now, what I'm going to do is use the Save Toolpath option. So I'm going to save out my pocket here. So if I have my pocket selected and I click Save Toolpaths, a window pops up and I can now save my toolpath. I'm going to call this one Pocket Widget. I'm just going to save that. And what that'll do is that'll save it as a .tap file. So if I just show you the folder where it's saved to, you'll notice it's now created a Pocket Widget.tap file, which is the correct format for my machine. And I've got my CRV file there as well to use for later as well, which is the file you've got here in the background. And it's actually really important to know the folder that it's saved to, because then you know where that file is, so you can then take it from here to your CNC machine. So it's important to know where you save that file to, so you can take this file and then put it onto a USB drive, or take it to your machine, or run it from here onto your CNC machine controller. Now, when we come to save our toolpath, the location of the save file dialog depends largely on the file dialog options, which can be found by going to Edit and then in Options. So if we just scroll down on this menu and we go down to General Settings, you've got this option here for File Dialog Default, and you see it's set to Global currently. So what does that mean? That means that the file will be saved to or open in the last used location. If we change that to Operation, then that will use the last used location for this particular operation. And then if we set it to Job, that will use the project location, or use a location from the operation if there is no project. So in this case, we can see that my project is the widget 24x24 toolpath project. So if I had this option on for Job, it would save it or open from that location where this file is currently located, which is this folder here. But let's set that back to global and let's click OK. And let's pop over to our Save Toolpath form again, and let's have a look at the next option, which is Visible Toolpaths to one file. Now, when I selected that option, you notice it says here no visible toolpaths. That's because I haven't selected any. So if I come down here and check the pocket, the drill, and the profile, you'll notice they're all displayed at the top here, and they're all using the same tool in this case. And it's saying that the toolpaths we saved will be the pocket, drill, profile, and it displays the tool. So if I click Save Toolpaths, I can call this one End Mill, and I can just click Save, and that has now saved it to my folder location. And as I mentioned, that now contains all three of these toolpaths. So it's quite a handy tool, so you can get all of those visible toolpaths to one file. So you've just got the one file now, as opposed to separate files that does three of your toolpaths. Now, what if I wanted to include the VBit toolpaths as well with this? Well, let's turn them on and let's see what happens. Well, we get an error, and it says the visible toolpaths use different tools and the selected post processor does not support tool changing. So in this case, what I need to do is I need to have a post processor that supports automatic tool change commands, or ATC as the abbreviation. Or we could also look at saving these toolpaths to multiple files. So now what will happen is that these will be saved out individually to multiple files. So let's have a look at what that looks like. So we'll click Save Toolpaths with all of them selected. We'll call this one Widget. We'll click Save, and then we'll have a look at what that looks like. So we'll open up our folder, and you can see now the saving process has respected that the toolpaths were in order, and that order has been respected. So Pocket is 1, Drill 2, Profile 3, Text 4, Hatch 5, and they are all saved out to their own separate files. But for now, I'm just going to highlight all of these toolpaths. I'm going to delete them. I'm going to minimize this window, and we're going to look at another option. And that option is to group where possible. Now what this will do is the software will look at the toolpaths and try and group them based on the tool they're using where possible. Let's have a look at what that looks like in action. So we'll click Save Toolpaths. We'll call this one Widget. Save that out. Let's have a look at our folder. And now what you'll notice is it's taken the naming convention from the first toolpath here for Pocket, and what it's done is it's taken toolpaths 1 to 3, which is our Pocket, Drill, and Profile, and group them together so that these are all the end mill toolpaths in one file. And then similarly for the V-bit toolpaths, you've got the text, so it's taken the text name from that toolpath there, and it's grouped together both of these toolpaths because they're both using a V-bit. So you can see how powerful that really is and how it allows you to organize your toolpath files. So let's just minimize that. I'm going to come out of this form for the moment. Now, what if I wanted to group toolpaths? Well, if I right click on this menu here, I got the option to create an empty group or group visible. If I just turn off our toolpaths for the V-bit and we keep the MMill toolpaths on, if I right click and choose group visible, it has grouped the toolpaths together based on visibility, which is the check marks next to the toolpath there. So now what I can do is if I go back into save toolpath and this time choose selected toolpath, because it knows they're already a group, because they're grouped up here, I can save it this way. So I can click save toolpaths, and if I call this one group widget, save that out. Let's have a look at what that looks like. You notice this one tap file or one GCode file with all of our toolpaths that are grouped together over here. So you can see how handy it is to organize your toolpaths. But if I just now right mouse click on the group and choose ungroup, that will now ungroup those toolpaths back into their original ungrouped format. So now what we're going to do is click next to each one of these toolpaths, have them checked or visible. Going to come up to our form again, go to visible toolpaths, one file. I'm going to look at adding in a ATC post or an automatic tool change post so we can save out our files to one file. So go into our machine configuration menu, click the plus icon here next to the associated post processors, and I can either scroll down or in the list type G to go to GCode. I want the GCode ATC inch post. Click select, hit apply, OK, and now in the list I've got my ATC post. And now you'll notice I'm still getting an error. I get an error that says the toolpaths to be saved, the pocket and the text profile, they both use tool number 1, but the geometry of the tools are different. So in this case, if I just hover my mouse over the pocket, you'll see that in the start of the dialog box here, you get pocket, then it says number 1 in brackets, and that's the tool number, and then for text, it also is using number 1. So how do I remedy this? Well, let's close up the film, and what we can do is open up our toolpath for the text, and if we go to the edit option, we'll come down here, we'll change the tool number to 2, click OK, make sure you click calculate so that change is reflected. Do the same with the hatch profile, edit, number 2, OK, click calculate so the change applies. Let's go back into our save toolpath form, back to visible toolpaths to one file, make sure we've got an ATC post, and you now see they're all listed, ready to go and ready to be saved. So let's click on save toolpaths. We're going to call this one the widget 24 by 24 toolpath. Let's click save, and if I show you what that looks like in the folder, there's our toolpath file ready to go with all of our toolpaths in the one file. So we can take this from this location and take it to our machine and start cutting this out. You'll notice there's also an option here for output tiled toolpaths. Now this is where you can output a tiled toolpath, and you can learn more about tiling toolpaths in the tiling tutorial that will be one of the related videos to this video. And we also have the option to add a side or add side to toolpath name. That's where you can add top or bottom to the toolpath name when you're using a double-sided job or a two-sided job. And if you want to learn more about how to approach saving two-sided jobs or how to make a two-sided job, we have an introduction to two-sided machining tutorial, which will also be in the related videos for you. But for now, that concludes our overview of saving toolpaths. I hope you found this helpful, and of course we look forward to seeing you in the next video.